Hello and welcome to the Dailies. International media closely monitored the Middle East on Monday as ceasefire violations by both Israel and Hamas cast doubt on the fragile truce. Global outlets also continue to analyze the outcome of Donald Trump's tense White House meeting with Volodymyr Zelenskyy, focusing on Trump's hardline stance and pressure for a swift peace deal. Meanwhile, an audacious Hollywood-style heist at Louvre Museum in Paris involving the theft of priceless crown jewels dominated headlines worldwide, drawing shock and questions over security at one of the world's most famous museums. Most international media continue to focus on the outcome of the White House meeting between President Trump and President Zelenskyy over the weekend. The Telegraph revealed a heated meeting where Trump pressured Volodymyr Zelenskyy to accept Vladimir Putin's terms or face military defeat. According to the report, Trump, shouting and swearing, urged Ukraine to surrender the strategic Donetsk region, echoing Russian demands. Zelenskyy refused, according to the report, emphasizing Ukraine's sovereignty and rejecting territorial concessions. The piece highlights the meeting comes as Trump seeks another high-profile peace deal after Gaza. Analysts say his shifting positions could weaken Kiev's leverage while boosting Moscow's. It also underscores European leaders' concern, as in their view, Ukraine would not accept a deal seen as capitulation. Trump is expected to meet Putin in Budapest to push talks further, highlighting or heightening political tensions. Politico offered more details, revealing that after a call with Vladimir Putin, Trump suggested freezing the war along current front lines, a proposal Ukraine firmly rejected. Zelenskyy sought U.S. support and also Tomahawk missiles, but left without promises. The piece contends the meeting exposed shifting U.S. priorities and European unease over Trump's openness to territorial concessions. Now, EU leaders, including Donald Tusk, stressed that pressure should be on Russia and not on Ukraine, while insiders downplayed the drama. The analysis highlights how timing, political pressure, and also personal diplomacy could reshape the course of the war. European media echoed officials' concerns, framing the meeting as a diplomatic setback and a win for Putin's narrative. Editorials warned it could erode Western unity and leave Ukraine isolated, highlighting Europe's need to step up its strategic autonomy. However, some voices in Europe saw in this latest shift in American policy towards Ukraine an effective alternative to Europe's stalemate. Simon Jenkins wrote in The Guardian, arguing that Donald Trump's unpredictable diplomacy may be achieving what traditional alliances have not: stopping wars. Jenkins notes that motives may be self-serving, but outcomes matter more than intent if they lead to peace. The piece also criticizes NATO's and Western leaders' cautious stalemate, framing Trump's blunt approach as a risk but potentially effective alternative. The article portrays him as an unlikely peace broker whose success, if real, could reshape global conflict resolution. To the Middle East now, as the Gaza ceasefire remains intact on paper, but fragile in reality. The New York Times examines the fragile truce between Israel and Hamas. It also highlights rising tensions after deadly clashes in Rafah, where Israel blamed Hamas for violating the ceasefire. The report details civilian casualties, halted aid deliveries, and slow progress in returning hostages and Palestinian remains. It also shows how unresolved political questions like Gaza's control and disarmament threaten the deal. The Rafah crossing remains closed and future negotiations are uncertain. And the piece reveals how one violent incident can shake a fragile agreement, raising doubts about lasting peace. The Times of Israel reports on plans to deploy an international stabilization force under a United Nations Security Council mandate, but without formally designating it as a peacekeeping mission. According to the report, Egypt is expected to lead, with Azerbaijan and Indonesia among the countries agreeing to contribute troops. The mission is part of Donald Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza post-war transition, following Israel's withdrawal and the disarmament of Hamas. The piece also highlights additional support that may come from Turkey, while United Arab Emirates and Qatar could provide funding or training. The plan aligns with Tony Blair's proposal to establish a transitional Gaza authority, though details of its coordination with the Palestinian Authority remain unsettled. Yediot Ahronot provides a detailed account of the 60 Minutes interview with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, highlighting the behind-the-scenes diplomacy that led to the Gaza ceasefire. The report reveals how Witkoff formed an unexpected personal bond with Khalil al-Hayya in Cairo by expressing condolences over the loss of his son, a moment both envoys described as a turning point in the talks. It also details how Trump pushed Benjamin Netanyahu to apologize to Qatar, a move Witkoff called pivotal indeed to also regaining the trust and also reopening negotiations. The interview portrays Trump's reliance on personal diplomacy over formal structures, using emotional gestures and strategic pressure to secure a fragile but crucial ceasefire. In an exclusive, The Washington Post exposes how Marco Rubio, as Secretary of State, offered to return MS-13 informants to Nayib Bukele in exchange for access to terrorism confinement center. Now, these informants had cooperated with U.S. investigations, making the promise a major break with long-standing law enforcement policies. The report contends the deal aimed to support Donald Trump's large-scale deportation plan while helping Bukele protect his image and block U.S. probes into alleged gang deals. It also quotes law enforcement officials who called it a betrayal that could harm future cooperation. The piece reveals deep political maneuvering, legal risks, and rising tensions between law enforcement, diplomacy, and national security interests. And we'll end with Le Monde, which reported on what it called a spectacular Louvre heist that took place Sunday morning. The report reveals how a four-person gang stole royal jewels from Louvre Museum in just 7 minutes, exposing serious security gaps. Using a simple mover's ladder, thieves entered the Apollo Gallery, smashed display cases, and escaped on scooters with items including a sapphire necklace from Marie-Amélie of Orleans and a tiara from Eugene de Montego. Although alarms sounded, the response was too slow to stop them. The piece highlighted criticisms by unions and staff that years of underfunding and delayed security upgrades led to the heist. Emmanuel Macron promised recovery of the jewels and also accountability, and experts warn the pieces, though unsellable, may be dismantled. The piece also concludes the theft reignites debate over cultural heritage protection in France. That's it for today. Thanks for watching.